Well, here we go again. Paul Murray is upset, and I must confess, I'm very upset for him. To think that he's so upset that I think he's about to wet his pants. He is distressed. I've never seen Paul so distressed, well, not since Saturday's by-election anyway. So here he is discussing the increase in private health insurance premiums. And I guess the man must be upset about this because, he has to pay probably a lot for his own health insurance because a man like he would not go to the public health system for help because that would be way beyond him. And if he went to a private hospital, went to a public hospital, he'd find that he'd have to associate with people who just weren't like him, and he wouldn't like to do that. But the prices have increased. Now, I've done my due diligence, and I've had a look at, I didn't know how the private health system worked. It is heavily regulated. In fact, there's a a productivity report that has said that it's probably the most regulated industry in the country, and rightfully so, because it's about our health. But the pricing is not as regulated as we would think, except that the pricing has to be approved by the government. So the Health Minister, Mark Butler, is responsible for all of this. But when you hear this man talk about it, you start to think, well, what are you so upset about? And my thinking is, you're upset because there's nothing else that you can get upset about right at this particular point in time, and you must find something, and this is the thing that you seem to have found.
I've got a lot, and I'm not in a great mood about something.
No, he's not in a great mood, so watch out, everybody. It's funny, I feel like I'm sitting on his set, which is kind of a bizarre sort of thing, Anyway, so he's just upset.
News that's around today. As always, I say, make sure that you pay attention to what they do, not what they say.
As we should with you, all the time. Great lesson to be learnt, I think.
And what they have been doing has not been good. Now, we know that
No, I agree. What happens at Sky News has not been good.
Prime Minister, fresh out of the Dunkley by-election, keeps trying to tell anyone who'll listen that, of course, he gets everything about cost of living.
I've already foreshadowed that we'll have more measures in the budget. We work each and every day to do more. That's the focus of the government.
That was Saturday, was the election. Sunday's when he's...
I struggle to understand what that snippet actually meant.
Said that, and now, on Tuesday, up goes private health insurance. Seriously, they think you are so stupid that you won't notice what is happening in your own life. They think you are so disinterested in the decisions of government that you won't notice this was their decision. They think you know so little about your own finances that this decision basically wipes out half of the tax cut for everyone that supposedly is the central idea about dealing...
Now, just need to say, for those people that do have, that are able to afford private health insurance, and I haven't actually looked at the numbers, but there are many millions of people that have some form of private health insurance. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody that has private health insurance has hospital insurance. So, some people will have optometrist insurance. Some people will have insurance for other things that are not as expensive as would be hospital insurance. So certainly for some people there's going to be an increase, but it isn't as he portrays it. I'll play a little bit more of this clip and just to watch him become, I guess, more and more agitated, which I find kind of amusing.
Cost of living. That's why I'm on fire tonight and so, frankly,
on fire.
Annoyed. I'm trying not to use the other language that's in my head. And then there's just the let them eat cake attitude from supposedly the Workers' Party, the people who care about the middle class. When petrol...
The middle class and the lower class are less likely to have private health insurance than anybody else.
A couple of years ago, it was $1.79. The then opposition leader, now Prime Minister, said that all of it was an example about a Prime Minister that was out of touch. And obviously this was,
So now, I like the way he does this. So now he pivots to petrol prices. So he has to find these things that are demonstrating the cost of living crisis that we're all under. Last week, I actually filled up my tank, and a petrol tank that is, and it was $1.75. So in a few days, the price has gone back up. It does. It's just the way it does. We're used to it. Wait until it goes down again, and then you purchase your petrol. So there's this feigned anger that he has around the rising prices. Now, when we have a look at the private health insurance, and there's an article in The Guardian on this, and it says here private insurance announces premium rises after Adams government approves increases. So the private health funds are governed by the government because clearly it's primary health issues, so therefore it must be maintained. Mark Butler says premiums will rise by 3.03% on average, as some providers outline large increases. So people can increase it much more than that, I guess, if they want to. But here it says the private health industry has defended the rises in being below inflation and similarly increases to other insurance products, but said costs to private health facilities like wages, staffing and cyber security were also on the rise. The Health Minister, Mark Butler, on Tuesday announced the annual rise in private health premium 3 weeks before the price changes came into effect on the 1st of April. He said the 3.03 increase, which was the average rise across the sector, was lower than annual rises in inflation and wages and had been decided after considering insurers' years of record profits. While we know that any increase will be hard to bear during a global cost of living crunch, the Albanese government has ensured that health insurance premiums will fall relative to Australians' wages, Butler said in a statement. So it was something that I think had been on the cards for some time prior to the election. Now, I don't have a problem with the fact that they may have held this off until after the Dunkley by-election. I get all that. That's politics. Welcome to the real world. But the fact that Sky News and people like Paul Murray make such a big deal out of all this, it wouldn't have mattered when this issue was taken, when this issue was presented. It wouldn't have mattered. If it was next week or the week after, whatever, they still would have made a big deal of it. But it is worth noting that it was planned to take place, and that there are other insurance companies who have gone above and beyond the 3.3% increase. And there's a list, incidentally, here of those premiums, and some of them, there's a couple here that are zero price changes, and some of them are very minuscule also, as you can see. So it's not the big blowout that you get from Paul Murray as to, churning out all this extra money that you'll be paying that you should be not having to pay because of the cut in taxes. So let me know what you think, as always, in the area below, and whether you think that Paul Murray's talking out of his arse, as he often is. Put some comments below. Are you a private health insurer, or do you just go to the public health system? Let me know. In the meantime, take care, look after yourselves, everybody, and ensure that you and your family are safe.